Hello, and welcome to the RAMP Public Storage Vendor Support video on processing project invoices and project work orders. Today we're going to begin with a project work order that has just been assigned. First, click on the work order link to open the work order. To make sure that we are working on a project work order, please review the category to confirm that you are working on a PS project work order. The first step is going to be to accept the work order. Click Accept to accept the work order. After you click Accept, click OK to confirm the scheduled dates and scope of work. Click Back if you want to adjust the dates. After we click Accept Work, the status of the work order is updated to accept it. And now we are going to start work. Clicking Start Work lets Public Storage know that you have begun working on the work order. Click OK to confirm that you have started work. Now the work order status is updated to work in progress. Now that we have started work, we now see the buttons End Work, Create Change Order, No Charge, or Create Partial Invoice. We will now go through creating a partial invoice. Partial invoices are used to incrementally invoice your project work order. You can use the partial invoice to invoice up to 90% of your work order. Click Create Partial Invoice to create the partial invoice. Now we see the invoices open. To submit the project invoice, the first required field is our vendor invoice number. This is the invoice number that comes from the vendor system and that is located on their PDF invoice document. After we input our vendor invoice number, now we're going to scroll over to the right of the page so we can upload our invoice and our signed lien waiver. To scroll over to the right side of the page, use the scroll bar to scroll over. Scroll up till you see the invoice/lien waiver/signed work orders. In this box, we must upload our invoice PDF and our lien waiver and signed work order if we have one. Click on the paperclip icon to select a file. After you select your file, click OK or Open. Wait until you see the image of your attachment here or two arrows. Now I'm going to click the paperclip icon again to upload my lien waiver. Select the file, click Open. Again, we're going to wait until this gray bar is gone, indicating that our document has been fully uploaded. After we upload our invoice and our lien waiver to the invoice document, to the invoice/lien waiver/signed work order document, now we're going to scroll below to the invoice items. Below the green buttons, we see the invoice items. This is where we'll be entering our financial line items from our invoice so that we can submit it here in RAMP. Enter your financial line items. You can enter them all on one line item, or you could break it out as you see here. Or we could just put everything on one line item here. So once you've entered your amount in the price field, now we're going to click Submit. The system kicks us back to our work order. As we can see, our work order is still work in progress. Our partial invoice has been submitted. Now we are going to submit our final invoice. Scroll down till you see your green buttons. So we have the End Work button, Create Change Order button, No Charge button, and Create Partial Invoice. We are now ready to submit our final invoice, but before we do, we have to click End Work. To click End Work, we must first input the work performed field, scroll down to the vendor provided information, and look for the work performed field bottom right corner. Then enter what was done at the property in the work performed field and click End Work. After we click End Work, our work order is updated to work finished, and now we can submit our final invoice. Our green buttons are now Submit Final Invoice or End Work Recall. We are going to be submitting the final invoice. To submit the final invoice, click Submit Final Invoice. For project work orders, there's no need to input your information here. In the work order, we will be doing everything on the invoice page. Now we are at the final invoice. For our project work order invoices, we will be providing the vendor invoice number. We'll also upload our documents, then we'll put in our financial line items, and then we will submit. Our first required field is the vendor invoice number. This is the invoice number that comes from your own system, and that's located on your PDF invoice. After you put your vendor invoice number in, now we're going to scroll over to the right to upload our invoice and lien waiver. Locate the invoice, lien waiver / signed work orders upload box that is located at the top right corner. Click on the paperclip icon to then attach your lien waiver and your invoice. Click on the file, click Open. Once you've uploaded your invoice and your lien waiver here, now we are going to scroll down to enter our financial line items. Right below the green buttons, we see the invoice line items. We will now be entering our invoice line items here under the price column. To enter your financial line items, please make sure the description, quantity, and price are filled in for the line items that you wish to use. Once you have entered your financial line items, you can now click Submit. Now the system has brought us back to our work order, and we are done. We've processed the work order, we've submitted both our partial invoice and our final invoice, and now we are done.